Hello and welcome to our first and only edition of Artificially Intelligent. I'm your host Sam Evans, and in today's podcast we'll be talking about artificial intelligence, aka AI. We are lucky enough to have two additional experts with us this evening. Welcome Jin, welcome Fung.
Hi Sam, thanks for having me.
Hi, glad to be here.
So Jin, what do you think the listeners want to hear first?
Could you please tell us how AI came about and what it really is?
Well, early work into AI began through the 50s to 70s where excitement and development was created on these thinking machines. In the 80s to 2000s, machine learning became popular, and more recently AI has evolved to have deep learning capabilities. Present day it is embedded into our day-to-day lives and can range from things like voice assistants, driverless cars, Google search algorithms, facial recognition, and even navigation. If you want to look into more examples, go to Becoming Human's webpage, which will provide 10 powerful examples of AI applications. All these applications are formally known as narrow or weak AI, in that it is designed to perform a singular or narrow task. The long-term goal of AI, however, is to create general or strong AI. This would allow AI to outperform humans at nearly every cognitive task, which could cause some serious implications for humanity if not controlled.
Okay, thanks. I believe the listeners should have a good grasp of the AI ranges now.
Okay, I've got a question for you now, Fung. What are your thoughts for AI impacting business?
Well, I think that AI is changing the way that business operates. It can be broken down into categories: augmentation and automation. Firstly, augmentation means that AI is able to assist humans with our day-to-day tasks, personally or commercially, without having complete control of the output. Such AI is used in virtual assistant, data analysis, software solutions, where they are mainly used to reduce errors due to human bias. Secondly, automation is how jobs are done autonomously without the need for any human intervention. For example, robots perform key process steps in manufacturing plants or make autonomous decisions in the warehouse, such as tracking, locating, and moving inventory.
How can these impact the supply chain?
AI could help with forecasting the inventory, demand, and supply while saving time and operational costs. The AI could realize when inventory is getting low and order more. This is known as just-in-time inventory management and has been utilized for decades now, but becomes significantly easier with conjunction with chatbots to automate the procurement process.
How about autonomous cars or trucks? I think that would make a massive impact on the bottom line and supply chain management.
Yes, the impact is quite significant. Autonomous delivery trucks can be utilized to effectively double the efficiency and output of deliveries at a 25% cost reduction. Where drivers are restricted by law for driving hours, a driverless truck can drive nearly 24 hours a day. Also, tracking capabilities would improve so it would be easier to track shipments and supplies and have a more accurate delivery time. Alright, my questions. As AI begin to integrate more into our lives, are there any rules and regulations surrounding the use of this technology?
Yes, good question. The rules and regulations surrounding AI are constantly being changed globally. There is a framework and discussion paper in Australia that bases AI development to 8 core principles to guide developers of creating AI. These include AI must generate net benefits, do no harm, regulatory and legal compliance, privacy protection, fairness, transparency and explainability, contestability and accountability.
What do you mean by accountability?
By accountability, I mean that the people and organizations responsible for the creation and implementation of AI algorithms should be identifiable and accountable for the impacts of that algorithm, even if the impacts are unintended. Now that was for Australia. I'll let Jin discuss some more regulations on an international level.
Thanks, Sam. The EU has established a group of 52 AI experts that have recently published some guidelines and 4 key ethical principles to achieve trustworthy AI. The principles are respect for human autonomy, prevention of harm, fairness, and explainability.
I noticed that Australia and EU guidelines both have prevention of harm and fairness. How important are those for AI developments?
Well, these principles are extremely important, especially in relation to AI causing harm. AI must not be designed to harm or deceive people and should look to minimize negative outcomes.
I actually heard the other day a clear example of what we want to avoid. A super intelligent AI will be extremely good at accomplishing its goals, and if those goals aren't aligned with ours, we'll have a problem. You're probably not an evil ant hater who steps on ants out of malice, but if you're in charge of a hydroelectric green energy project and there's an anthill in the region to be flooded, too bad for the ants. A key goal of AI safety research is to never place humanity in the position of those ants.
Wow, that's an interesting example for the listeners, but it does make sense. Thanks for that.
And you grasp the fairness you asked about. AI must not discriminate against individuals, communities, or groups. They must be free from training biases, which may cause unfairness.
Well said, Jin. Do you have any insights on the social implications of AI?
Thanks, Sam. Yes, some of this also is implementation of AI that we need to be concerned about includes that AI has the potential to reduce human errors and human bias. For example, AI has better judges towards more equitable bail decisions in criminal justice. Also, AI has a profound impact on human cultural life, such as changes in employment and social culture.
Okay, can you give me some examples of those changes?
Well, there is a well-founded fear that AI will take away jobs, which is true, but more jobs will also be created. Machines took away typing jobs, but do we miss them? We shouldn't fear AI but embrace it. There is a lot that humanity is yet to achieve. AI may be the new electricity, but it won't go anywhere until we collaborate and build the foundation that will power our future.
Interesting. I agree. I acknowledge that AI won't be perfect, but collaboration is our best chance at creating AI where the benefits outweigh the costs. I know we've covered a few of the downsides of AI indirectly through our discussion already, but I was wondering if you could elaborate and list a few more potential risks of AI.
Yes, as you know, data is an essential factor in AI. If the data inputs are incorrect, inconsistent, or of poor quality, the outputs of AI's algorithm will be affected in a potentially negative way. Additionally, high installation costs, complex implementation phases, and employee skill shortages are also some drawbacks of applying AI in business. Privacy is also a downside due to the increasing amount of connected devices. AI can be programmed for purposes like tracking, identifying, or profiling people across the devices, which amplifies this risk.
Alright, thank you, Phil. Did you have any other risks to add, Jim?
Yes, I did. I think both unintended consequences and misalignments of business goals with the AI are both credible risks, with misalignments of goals arising from unclear and inconcise objectives. For example, a command to get me to the office as quickly as possible may have unintended consequences. The AI may get you there as fast as possible, but leaving a trail of accidents behind. More seriously, however, the capabilities of AI can be significantly more dangerous to the world with the creation of autonomous weapons.
Alright, thank you for that insight, guys. Sounds scary when you list all those risks and downsides together at once. I think we should definitely take a global approach to AI and form a rigorous rules and regulations regarding AI to make sure the benefits do outweigh the negatives. Well, thank you for all to listening to Artificially Intelligent this evening. I hope you all learned a thing or two about artificial intelligence and how it could impact you. I'd like to thank our experts Jin and Fung for taking the time to discuss about this innovative technology.
Thank you.